Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's Wargame World, and we're not covering miniatures in this video. We're going to do a quick unboxing of the French Indian War Solitaire. Now, this is another small format game by Worthington Games and the great Grant Wylie. I like to say the box is just like War of 1812 and the Pacific, super strong travel box. All right, you can take this box, throw it in the suitcase, and it's going to survive. All right, the back of the box. Well, what do we have? We have our information on what the board looks like, French Indian War, and as you know, I love the French Indian War and a reenactor for over 20 years. Game complexity is low, solitaire is extremely high. And this plays in 30 minutes. Now, let's check it out. What do you say? Let's try to get my camera angle up so we don't have so much glare. And we'll start off with the rule book. What do you say? So, nice little pamphlet, Worthington Games. And, you know, Worthington published my French Indian War game, Wilderness Empire. Gosh, I think it's going to be 15 years ago. All right, we have lots of illustrations. It plays just like the War of 1812 and the 1942 Pacific. All right. Now, what I've already read through the rules. They do have some really neat stuff that represents the French Indian War with supplies and weather. And I really think they did a fantastic job. And, you know, I own just about every French Indian War board game there is, including the ones I produced. And this is really a nice game. By the way, I have a couple copies. I have one at the other house. That's the one I've been playing. This one's unpunched. This is the one at the Baltimore house. Here we have our counters. Really nice. French, Native Americans. And then we'll flip them over. Reduce sides. You notice the militia is -1 die roll. And low counter density. Throw that over there. Now, what I like about this is you can play as the French or the British. Okay. So you got your action points. Using action points, you're going through your available amount of action points, your different outcomes. This is the AI, the bot. And what's neat is you have it for French actions, British actions. Okay. And a really neat box. All right. What else we got in here? Well, just like in all the other travel games, we have a box that takes your counters here and your die. Grant Wylie is amazing. All right. Now, we all need to take a look at the beautiful artwork. Worthington's been putting some, you know, they're always great on artwork. I mean, any game they have, their artwork is fantastic. But these little games, they're really doing some nice artwork that's on the reverse of the map. Of course, we have the Plains of Abraham. And, you know, the British are coming across and they're sneaking up the slope. The Scotch, I think it's a Scottish soldier who speaks French tells the pickets that they're French. Of course, we all know what happens at the Plains of Abraham. Montcalm is killed. And some general named Wolfe. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. So we have our game board, which is really nice, sturdy, folds out nicely. We'll get it centered a little bit more. All right. So now each of these tracks is tracking your Native Americans, either neutral with the French or with the British. On the side over here, they have your combat results for ship battles and then you launch your attacks to control your territories. And of course, we have Quebec way over here. Now, how they did Louisbourg and Halifax is they have it off board. And a really neat way to keep the board small, that they put that inlay, really neat. Now, the French APs, you'll notice, and this is something I think is really neat. In the beginning, the French have more action points than the British. And as the game progresses, as you get further into the years, that old Pitt guy over in England, he starts pouring tons of troops over from Great Britain to the colonies to defeat the French. And all the French were trying to do, of course, was defend their territories and avenge the assassination of Ensign Ensign Jumonville V, who assassinated Washington. So I'm giving this review a little bit of French flavor, joking around. Really nice how they have the Mohawk region, Ohio, Hudson, Atlantic region. Now, as far as the forts and all, let me grab a stick. So, what is neat here is Fort Duquesne, Fort Ligonier, Cumberland, Alexandria would have been neat if we had a Fort Frederick right here. We have Oswego, Wyoming. There's Fort Niagara, by the way, Frontenac, Montreal, Quebec. Now, we all know we have Fort St. Frederick, Fort Carillon. This is also known now as Fort Ticonderoga, America's first fort. Fort William Henry, Albany, in New York. Then you're Boston all the way up. Boston and all the way up to Quebec. Oh, with Louisbourg. All right. So, Goober, the traveling bear, who's raising money for Braddock's Battlefield History Center, gives us many paws up, and he's we're over $400 between donations and views for the Braddock's Battlefield History Center, so it's appropriate that we are reviewing a French Indian War game. Again, French Indian War Solitaire. I will do a playthrough. Probably, I played it twice so far at the other house, and if I have time, I'll play a video playthrough of it. All right, that's it for now. Make sure you pick up the French Indian War Solitaire by Grant Wylie, Worthington Games. Stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and thank you for watching. Every view helps raise money for a small museum out there. Bye-bye, everyone.